All right, so in this video, I'm going to share some of the best side hustles for 2022. I'm so excited for this video. There's going to be a lot of side hustles in this video that I can nearly guarantee that you've never heard of. People don't talk about them. It's not the basics like do online surveys and mow lawns and do script writing. Like those are some pretty basic ones, video editing, right? We've heard of all those. I'm going to share some really unique side hustles that I am really excited for this coming year. I've done some of these in the past, other ones I want to do for this coming year, and I think they're going to be perfectly aligned for anyone. It doesn't matter if you're 16 years old or 60 years old, doesn't matter if you have $1 in your bank account or $1 million in your bank account. I think there's going to be something in this video for everyone. So let's go ahead, let's get into it. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and let's go ahead, get started with this video. And the first side hustle is glamping, setting up glamping for people. Now, let me explain why this is number one on the list. We'll talk about some of the potential revenues from this, and then also some of the downsides or the roadblocks to getting into something like this. Now, glamping is one of my favorites right now. It's something that I really want to get started as a side hustle. I just have to find the time for it. But let me explain how much money you could probably make with something like this. So it turns out that a lot of people, especially people from cities, like to do some weekend getaways or some getaways from the city, say from New York or from LA or from some other big cities. And so they'll end up going on to Airbnb. I'll show you right now on my computer. You go onto Airbnb and you'll see these basically glorified tents that are going for $300 or $400 per night to sleep in a tent or sometimes even an RV. Now, you might be saying, I don't have a tent or I don't have an RV. Where do I get the land to do this? And there's a lot of options for this and there's a lot of capabilities. There's a couple of YouTube channels that actually show you how to set these up on Airbnb. But the basics of it is that you could either rent some land, you could lease some land, or if you have the funds for it, you could potentially buy some land outside of a national park. Now, these tend to be the best ones for this glamping setup if you want to go low cost. So you get some land outside of a national park or in an area that seems to be pretty well trafficked. For example, like the Pocono Mountains are pretty close to New York, but also Philadelphia. So it's a place that a lot of people like to go to when they want to get away from the city. And so you can set that up, post it to Airbnb, and pretty quickly, I've had a lot of friends who do this, pretty quickly, it will probably fill up at hundreds of dollars per night. So the operating costs on this versus the margins, they tend to be, from what I've seen from the people I've talked to, like 80% margins, sometimes even better than that. And I've seen some of these tent setups or these even cabins in the woods sort of setups or shipping container homes that are cash flowing over $100,000 per year in profit from these Airbnb setups. So it's really amazing to see the amount of cash flow on them, and it's the reason why I put it number one on this list, because it's the one that I'm most excited about, and I think you can make a lot of money with this side hustle. Downsides to this, it's going to take some time to set it up, or you're going to have to want to try to outsource it somehow. So the reason why I haven't done it yet is because I don't have the time to do it. So I need to find someone to partner with to set up these Airbnbs outside of national parks around the country. So let's talk about the second side hustle, and this one's going to be pretty interesting. And it's one that probably most people could do, especially if you have a basement or a little bit of extra room in your house. And this is start a microgreens business. Now, here's why I really love this, because you can do this pretty much anywhere in the world. And so there's a really big market, and it's a very much growing market for microgreens, especially things like wheatgrass or sprouts. How do I know this? Well, I used to eat a lot of these and sell them to some of my friends when I was younger. But it's a great business model because it doesn't take very much to start up. And there's actually a lot of YouTube videos on this as well if you're interested in learning how to start a wheatgrass business or a microgreens business. People are obviously trying to eat healthier than what they were 20 or 30 years ago. People are very conscious of what they eat. And so there's a really nice market for this. So I have a friend who used to deliver wheatgrass out in San Diego. And this is like almost a full-time job, just delivering wheatgrass to clients. And so to grow this, you really only need some grow lights. You can get some flats. I mean, I used to do this, so it's really not very complicated, and there's some great resources on it. And now, how much money could you make on it? How would you market it? I think what I would do is I would probably start very small and just scale up over time. You can market this probably best on social media just to get your initial clients, explain to people why it's healthy. I think a lot of people already know, hey, if I can get some sprouts or some wheatgrass, it would actually be, pretty good for me. So you can market it on social media, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, and then also just at your local flea market. I know, like on the weekends, we used to sell things at our local flea market when I was in high school, and we did pretty well. Just every Saturday, every Sunday, we would go there, set up a table, and we would end up selling a lot of plants. We didn't sell wheatgrass, but you could definitely sell that at something like a flea market or a farmer's market as a side hustle. Now, you could also do the mushroom idea, but we used that mushroom idea last time, selling portobello mushrooms. They grow really well in basements. But sorry, I'm not going to get back off on my mushroom tangent. There's a lot of money in portobello mushrooms or shiitake mushrooms, but let's continue on here with the video. And the next side hustle is tying fishing rigs and selling them online on eBay, Etsy, Amazon. And the reason why this one came to mind is because, one, not many people think of it, and I love side hustles that aren't so overblown, like everybody's talking about them, like, oh, do things on Fiverr, do things on Upwork. Everybody knows those, right? We all know those: copywriting and writing and writing emails for people or video editing. Those are very common ones. But tying fishing rigs, the reason why we have it on this list is because it's pretty lucrative. I used to tie a lot of fishing rigs. I never sold them, but these days I don't tie them myself. I just buy fishing rigs online, usually on eBay or on Amazon. And so you can just get all the supplies for this. You can source the supplies from wholesale bulk sites. You can get the spinners, the beads, the line, and you can get all those different things and then just tie the rigs yourself. Not really hard. You can, once again, learn how to do this on YouTube. Probably in like 30 minutes, you can learn how to tie really nicely, like a flounder rig or something, or for bluefish. And there's a nice market for this. Now, are you going to become a billionaire selling fishing rigs? Probably not, but you can still make a decent amount of money. Now, if you're going to go this route, I would recommend selling them on platforms that already do the marketing for you, like Amazon, eBay, Etsy, or maybe selling them through social media. I wouldn't recommend starting like your own site for this. Like if you're trying to rank in Google for that, it's going to be pretty difficult with something like a Shopify store because they are pretty inexpensive items, like a few dollars a piece or something. So that's what I would recommend for fishing rigs. So the next idea is going to be basically buying a plot of land or renting a plot of land or somehow obtaining a plot of land and using it basically as a parking lot. Now, here's why we have this idea, because I think about, over my lifetime, I've paid a lot of money to park my vehicles in parking lots. So when I was at Penn State, I was paying $50 a month to park my car in a parking spot. It was just some guy's driveway. I mean, it was nothing, like, it was no big business. It was just his driveway, and he probably had 20 or 30 cars in there, charging $50 a month each. You can do the math on that. What's that, like an extra $1,000 to $2,000 a month by just letting college kids park their cars there. And another thing that I think about is, especially if you're close to an airport, if you're anywhere within like a 15 to 20 minute drive of an airport, you can pitch this basically as like airport parking. I know that I spend probably 60 to 70% of my time living in my truck. But there's times when I need to go to the airport, I need to fly across the country or to a different, country overall, go to Europe or something, and I need to park my truck somewhere out in, Salt Lake City or in Denver or in LA. And so I end up going onto a couple of different apps, and I'll just pay someone to park my truck in their driveway, basically. And it can be anywhere between like $5 a day up to $10, $15 a day to park a vehicle. So you could definitely make a few $1,000s per month off of this, either by letting people park in your driveway, in your yard, or if you got a plot of land, like you were able to lease a plot of land somewhere relatively close to an airport or near a college. It could be a great way to do this. And the way that I would market this, you could try to do it on like Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, but I would actually do this on, there's a lot of different parking apps. So if you just go to the App Store and look up the parking apps, there's probably 20 different ones. You just post it on each one of those, and I can nearly guarantee that you're gonna get people who are interested in parking their vehicle. This is like the most passive income ever. Make sure if you do this that you go through the things that you need to do for like liability, maybe sign some waivers. I don't know, that's up to you. I'm just a guy on the internet, so please do your due diligence on that. In case like a tree falls on someone's car when they park it there, make sure you get some of that liability stuff set up. But I think it's still a great idea to make some extra cash. Okay, so the next side hustle is pretty interesting, and I got this one from my friend George, who runs the Coral Fish 12G channel. Very interesting name there, but his name is George. And he was explaining to me one time when I was at a conference how people grow and sell coral for thousands of dollars. And this was just a concept that was so foreign to me. I didn't know that this was even a business. But he was explaining how people can grow coral, and basically, you watch it grow, and then you can sell it for a lot of money. So there actually is a huge market for this, especially for people in like the aquarium area who have fish and maybe they want some coral. I actually don't even fully understand it. But if you go check out his channel, he has some really cool videos on just fish in general. He's like a great guy. He talks a lot about fish. But he was explaining this to me how some people do this. And on top of that, there's people who sell fish. You can kind of do the same thing with what I was talking about, chickens, but just kind of like in the aquarium industry as a whole. There actually is a lot of money in that. And that kind of goes back to one of the points that I made earlier about how if you just have a hobby, you can end up making a living off of this. I mean, look at George here. He makes videos about fish, and he probably makes a lot of money making videos about fish. And there's also probably 10 or 20 other ways to make money talking about fish or doing something in the aquarium industry, and you can make a full-time living. So find one of your hobbies and, just watch some YouTube videos on it, and you might realize that, you can end up making a living off of something like that as well. Okay, so the next side hustle, it's very strategic. And so the overlying idea here is Shopify Store, but let me explain kind of how you can really use this, because if you just go out and try to like sell random products with Shopify stores, it might be really difficult to do that. What I would suggest doing is we've done this in the past where you find TikTok trends, ones that are really, really hot, and then you can end up selling those products. So for example, what we did back in like the early spring, late winter of 2021, there was a really big trend where I noticed it on TikTok. It was like these inserts to make people look taller that you put in your shoes. And so we were able to source a lot of those products and then just make a bunch of TikToks, which we didn't even make. We just outsourced to people. I have a friend who runs that, and I kind of just advise in a way, and so he runs all of it. But basically what we did is we had somebody source those products and then make a bunch of TikToks for them and basically blow it up. And we weren't the first ones to this product at all, but we saw the trend. It was kind of early to the trend, and so we were able to just hop on that and make some money off that with a Shopify store that way. So what I would suggest with that is if you want to do e-commerce, what I would suggest doing is making sure that you find products that are really unique and not just like a generic product that's like a $5 roll of toilet paper or something. You're probably not going to be successful with that. So yeah, that's what I would suggest for a Shopify store. It's pretty easy to get started with that. There's tutorials out there on Shopify. I'll leave a link to them down below as well if you're interested in signing up for Shopify. It's an affiliate link, so we might make some money off of it, but help support the channel. We don't sell any courses or anything. You can learn all of this for totally free on the internet. So if you want to sign up for Shopify, I would appreciate if you use the link down below, but you certainly don't have to. It would just, make me pretty happy. So let's continue on with this video. I want to share two more concepts here, or two more side hustles. And the next one is going to be, I used to say become a personal trainer, because I know that there's a lot of people out there who are very athletic, who work out every day. But instead of just becoming a personal trainer, because that's not very scalable. Like, you can do it, you can actually make really good money being a personal trainer. But what I would suggest doing is finding a way to make this digital. So let's look at some people here. Like, let's look at Athlean X. I think a lot of people know this guy. I forget what his name is, Jeff Cavalier. So this guy, if I had to guess, I would say he's probably making anywhere between $5 and $10 million a year at a minimum. He's probably making more than $10 million a year. And I would know this because, I've been doing YouTube. We have YouTube channels for many, many years. So I kind of understand like how many views he gets and the products that he sells and the courses that he sells. He definitely makes a lot of money, probably like $1 million a month. And so from, all of those views and from that great network, he makes a ton of money. Now, it's going to be hard to tap into something like the fitness industry on YouTube. So what I would suggest doing is you have to understand like the different phases of media. It used to be like really big with blogs. You can make a lot of money as well, like a fitness blog in 2004. And then it was fitness YouTube, right? So Jeff Cavalier, very early to fitness YouTube. He's been around for like probably almost 10 years on YouTube. So he has made a lot of money from that now. But now what it is is fitness TikTok, okay? So hop on fitness TikTok, hop on, fitness Instagram Reels, Snapchat highlights, whatever it's called, or Spotlight. Hop on those, on that short form content if you wanted to be like a fitness influencer. And then from there, I mean, it gets pretty easy. Once you build up a following, you can sell products, you can sell supplements. I have friends who make millions of dollars a year selling their supplements because they're a fitness influencer, or a sort of like a course or a product where you can teach people how to get in shape or how to, work on a certain muscle in their body that maybe they really want to focus on. So that's what I would suggest doing. For men and women, this could work, really, really well, especially if you start to niche down in the fitness industry. Like, for example, yoga for men tends to be underserved from what I've seen. Like, there's a lot of yoga videos, there's a lot of yoga content. It seems to be, from what I've seen, more skewed towards women. I think yoga for men would do really well, or just find some things that are a little bit more niche down that like not everybody's doing. So if you can find those, I think you can make a ton of money off of that. And the best part about it is that it's totally free. You have nothing to lose with this side hustle if you are in fitness. Just start making videos on TikTok especially. You can do YouTube as well. All right, so the last side hustle, it actually takes absolutely no time, but it's basically just making sure that you are earning a solid amount of money off of the money that you already have. So this one, yeah, literally takes no time. The way that I do this is through something like Gemini Earn, or you can do this through crypto lending on like KuCoin or BlockFi. But with Gemini Earn, I get like 8.05% on my money that's just sitting around. So this is like a nice little side hustle for me. Like, I literally do nothing and it just accumulates more money. You can read about exactly how it works, but it's basically just like a interest account that gets you an 8% yield. So if you had $1,000 in there, you're getting an extra $80 per year. If you had $12,000 in there, you'd be getting like an extra whatever, 8% on 12,000 is like $960, I think, but you compound that. You're probably getting like an extra $1,000 per year if you had $12,000 in there. And you can see how it just kind of compounds on top of itself. So I will leave a link to Gemini Earn down below as well. It's like super easy to sign up, and it's definitely like the simplest side hustle you could possibly have, just making sure that you are not losing your cash to inflation, because inflation rates are running really, really hot right now. I think inflation is going to go above 10% in my opinion, but we'll see how things work out with supply chain problems and everything else. But that is the video. Those are the side hustles that I recommend for 2022. Let me know your thoughts down below, ones that you think of, and if you have any questions about these, let me know. Shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'm happy to talk. There's some really cool ones, and I love hearing new ideas. So please, if you have some weird, obscure idea for the next video, shoot me a message. Let me know. I would love to hear it if you've been doing it yourself, or if it's just an idea, concept that you want to bounce around. So thanks for watching the video. I appreciate everyone's support, and I'll see everybody in next week's video.